students, welcome to Eko Learners Support for WAEC and NECO candidates. Have you ever noticed that when you have a bread in the house for some couple of days, it starts bringing out some colors? These colors are caused by organisms known as microorganisms, which will be leading us to today's topic.
Eko Learners Support, a support program of the Lagos State Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education for WAEC and NECO candidates.
Microorganisms. At the end of the lesson today, students should be able to define microorganisms, state the group of microorganisms, and state the economic importance of microorganisms. What are microorganisms? Microorganisms are also known as what? Microbes. They are tiny organisms which cannot be seen with the naked eyes, only with the use of a microscope. And microorganisms can be found in air, in the water, under the fingernails, in the mouth cavity, and everywhere. This is an example of a microscope. The function of this instrument is to enlarge the tiny organisms which cannot be seen with our naked eyes. These are the groups of the microorganisms. The groups are classified into 5. We have the viruses, we have the bacteria, we have the protozoa, we have the fungi, and also we have the algae. Different examples for the bacteria. We have what? Rhizoborne bacteria as an example. For the protozoa, we have amoeba. For the algae, we have the spirogera. Then from the fungi, we have our yeast. And for the virus, we have our common cold virus. So we'll be starting with the viruses. Viruses are non-circular organisms with nucleus, cytoplasm, and cell membrane. They can be seen under the light microscope, and they can also be seen with an electron microscope. This is an image of viruses. So now, students, you can quickly answer these questions for me. I'll be giving you 30 seconds to answer this question. Welcome back, students. I hope you are all done with your practice questions. Let's do it together. What are microorganisms? Microorganisms are tiny organisms which cannot be seen with our naked eyes, only with the use of a microscope. Number 2 question says, mention the groups of microorganisms. Microorganisms are classified into 5 groups, which are bacteria, viruses, fungi, algae, and protozoa. Then number 3 question says, how can virus be seen? Virus can be seen with the use of an electron microscope. I hope you've learned 1 or 2 things from today's lesson. And I also want to add, if you have any questions, any observations, any comments, you can send it to our social media platform that I'll be showing on the screen. In our previous class, we talked about microorganisms. And we know that microorganisms are tiny organisms which cannot be seen with our naked eyes, only with the use of a microscope. We also discussed about the groups of microorganisms. The groups of microorganisms are classified into 5, which are viruses, bacteria, fungi, protozoa, and algae. But today, we'll be looking at bacteria and protozoa.
Eko Learners Support, a support program of the Lagos State Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education for WAEC and NECO candidates.
Bacteria are unicellular organisms with microscopic size. When we say something is unicellular, it means that it has only one cell. It can be seen with a light microscope. It can be viewed with a light microscope, and it is also discovered in 1683 by Van Leeuwen. We have different shapes of bacteria. The bacteria in the spherical shape is known as cocci, while the bacteria in the rod shape is known as bacillus, while a bacteria in a spiral, twisted, or corkscrew-like shape is known as spirilla, and the comma-shaped bacteria is known as vibrio. The cocci shape. When the cocci is in pair, the meaning of pair is when it is arranged in twos, it is known as diplococci. When the cocci is arranged in a straight chain, it is known as streptococci. We can all see that this shape of bacteria is known as vibrio because it is in the comma shape. This is a rod-like shaped bacteria, bacillus. This is the spirilla, the one that is in a twisted form, spirilla form of bacteria. Now we are moving on to protozoas. Protozoas are microscopic unicellular organisms. Like I said earlier on, unicellular organisms are known as organisms with only one cell. They can be found in marine, freshwater, and dam soil. Protozoas are free living. When we say something is free living, that means they are independent. They can feed on their own. They don't need to depend on other organisms. While some are parasitic. When we say organisms are parasitic, it means that they depend on other organisms for food. Examples of free living bacteria, we have amoeba and we have paramecium. While parasitic, we have our plasmodium and trypanosome. These are the examples of protozoa, amoeba and paramecium. Amoeba has an irregular shape, and this is paramecium. So students, these are the practice questions. The question says, name the different shapes of bacteria. Number 2 says, state examples of free-living protozoas and parasitic protozoas. And number 3 said, where can protozoas be found? So I'll be giving you 30 seconds to answer these questions. When you are asked to name the different shape of bacteria, please take note that in biology we mark spellings. Cocci is a shape of bacteria which is spelled C-O-C-C-I. If you spell yours as C-O-C-I, it is wrong. The correct spelling is C-O-C-C-I. That is what? Cocci, a shape of bacteria. Another shape that we have is what? Vibrio. Vibrio is spelled V-I-B-R-I-O. vibro. Please take note of these spellings because in biology, even in your school exam, WAEC standard, NECO standard, spellings must be correct to mark. Another shape that we have the spirillum, which is spelled S-P-I-R-R-I-L-I-U-M. Another shape of bacteria that we have is the bacilli. Bacilla is B-A-C-I-L-L-I, bacilli. The next question says, state examples of free-living protozoa and parasitic protozoa. Free-living protozoas are the protozoas that are independent. They don't depend on other organisms to feed. Examples, we have amoeba and paramecium. Amoeba is spelled A-M-O-E-B-A, while paramecium is spelled P-A-R-A-M-E-C-I-U-M. Examples of parasitic protozoas, which are protozoas that depend on other organisms to feed. These are Plasmodium and Trypanosome. Trypanosome, T-R-Y-P-A-N-O-S-O-M-E. The next question is that where can protozoas be found? Protozoas can be found in marine habitats, freshwater habitats, damp soil, and everywhere. I hope you've learned one or two things. Let's have a recap of what we've done today. We first discussed about bacteria, some of the characteristics of bacteria. We talked on the shapes of bacteria. These are the shapes of bacteria. We talked of protozoas, the characteristics of protozoa. And this is an example diagrams of amoeba and paramecium before we went to the practice question. I hope you've learned from today's lesson. If you have any questions, feedback, contributions, you can send it to our social media page, which will be showing on the screen.
Acing your WAEC and NECO examinations has been made easy by the Lagos State Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education with the Eko Learners Support for WAEC and NECO Candidates television program. Join seasoned teachers as they take you through these core subjects: mathematics, English language, physics, chemistry, and biology, targeting the exact syllabus of WAEC and NECO. Watch Eko Learners Support for WAEC and NECO candidates on this station. Learners can also connect with Eko Learners Support for WAEC and NECO candidates through these social media platforms to access more educational content and give their feedback. Eko Learners Support for WAEC and NECO candidates. Pass your examinations with flying colors.
In our previous lesson, we discussed about bacteria and groups of bacteria. We looked at bacteria and protozoa. Today, we'll be looking at fungi and algae.
Eko Learners Support, a support program of the Lagos State Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education for WAEC and NECO candidates.
Fungi are non-green plants. They are mostly parasitic or saprophytic in nature. When we say they are parasitic, it means that they do depend on other organisms to feed. And when we say something is saprophytic in nature, that means they feed on dead, decay organic matter. Parasitic fungi live in or on the tissue of their hosts, while saprophytic forms obtain their food from dead and decaying materials. Examples of fungi, we have the mushroom, we have mucor, we have yeast. This is an example of fungi. This is a mushroom, and we can see it everywhere. Some mushrooms are edible while some are poisonous. Algae. Algae are simple, non-flowering aquatic plants. When we say aquatic plants, it means the plants live in water or they are found in water. They contain chlorophyll but lack true roots, true stem, and leaves. Chlorophyll is the pigment found in plants, the green pigment found in plants. They are terrestrial but mostly live in moist environments. When we say they are terrestrial, means they can be found on land. They lack vascular tissues, which makes them unable to transport food and materials around the body. Examples of algae, we have Spirogera and volvulus. Spirogera is in the filament form, while volvulus is in the colony form. This is an example of algae. I know that in one way or the other, you would have noticed that if you keep water in a bucket for a period of time, you will see that the bucket is kind of the water in the bucket is kind of slippery. That is algae. It grows everywhere. Now we want to look at the economic importance of all these microorganisms. Don't forget that microorganisms are grouped into 5, which are viruses, bacteria, fungi, algae, and protozoa. Now we are starting with viruses. It is used in the preparation of vaccine for various diseases. It causes many viral diseases. And I want you to take note, when we say economic importance, it doesn't mean only the good side or the bad side. It means both the good and the bad side of that organism. So economic importance, we'll be looking at the good aspects, likewise the bad aspects. We said that it is used in the preparation of vaccine and it causes many viral diseases such as coronavirus, Ebola virus, HIV, and measles. That's for viruses. The next one is bacteria. Bacteria causes food spoilage. Also, streptococci, which is a shape of bacteria, cause what? Sore throats. It is used in producing vinegar. Vinegar can be used to wash our meats, our fish before cooking. Soil bacteria brings about the decay of dead organisms, matter such as dead plants and animals. We're moving on to fungi. Fungi are used in the manufacturing of antibiotics for the treatment of bacterial diseases. Yeast, which is an example of bacteria, is used in the production of what? Beverages and industrial spirits. Also, yeast can be used to make our dough rise while baking. The next one, we have the protozoas. It aids the digestion of waste organic materials. Platonic protozoa serves as food. Some protozoas cause disease. Don't forget that when we're explaining or we're talking about protozoas, we said some are free living, where we mentioned paramecium and amoeba, while we said some are parasitic. Then we talked about plasmodium. Plasmodium is a protozoa that causes what? Malaria. The next microorganism we'll be looking at is algae. Algae is useful in fish culture and it also constitutes the link of a food chain. It's also useful in the treatment of plants. So these are the practice questions for you to do. I'll be giving you 30 seconds to do this. Welcome back, students. I hope these questions are not too difficult for you to answer. Number 1 question says, state 2 economic importance of microorganisms. 2 economic importance of microorganisms simply implies you will state 2 economic importance of bacteria, you will state 2 economic importance of virus, you will state 2 economic importance of protozoa, you will state 2 economic importance of fungi, and you will state 2 economic importance of algae. Let's start with virus. Number 1, they cause what? Viral diseases such as coronavirus, Ebola virus, HIV, and measles. For bacteria, they cause what? Food spoilage. And I also mentioned that streptococci, which is a shape in bacteria, causes sore throat. For protozoa, the economic importance of protozoa is that they are used in fish culture. Number 4, we have that of algae. Algae is used to treat sewage treatment of plants. The next question says, mention 2 examples of fungi and of the following: fungi, algae, and where they are found. Please, students, take notes. NECO and WAEC, when you are asked where they are found, be specific about the habitat. Fungi, 2 examples, we have our mushroom, we have our yeast. Where can they be found? You can find the mushrooms on a log of tree, or you can find it on the back of a tree, while algae can be found in most places. Examples of algae, we have the Spirogera and we have the Volvox. I hope you've learned from today's class. I want to implore you, whatever we are doing now, please take it very serious.
Eko Learners Support, a support program of the Lagos State Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education for WAEC and NECO candidates.
If you have any questions, any contributions, any complaints, you can send it to our social media platform that will be showing on your screen right now. Do take care and have a lovely day. Bye.
Acing your WAEC and NECO examinations has been made easy by the Lagos State Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education with the Eko Learners Support for WAEC and NECO candidates television program. Join seasoned teachers as they take you through these core subjects: mathematics, English language, physics, chemistry, and biology, targeting the exact syllabus of WAEC and NECO. Watch Eko Learners Support for WAEC and NECO candidates on this station. Learners can also connect with Eko Learners Support for WAEC and NECO candidates through these social media platforms to access more educational content and give their feedback. Eko Learners Support for WAEC and NECO candidates. Pass your examinations with flying colors.